Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Rains with Sort 30 for Words Their Way, and we're talking about Latin root words. And we have three categories for this sort. We have spect, which means look, port, which means carry, and form, which means shape. Now, if you take a look at the words, and I underlined the root words and all of these different words and the categories that they belong in, and you can see that they're all over the place. So some are in the middle, some are at the end, some are at the beginning. But you can tell by looking at these words and seeing these root words within these words that all of these words underneath spec has to do with a look of something or looking at something. Um, and the next category for port, all of these words have to do with carrying something or to carry, to transport or something, to bring something somewhere. So the next category for form, which means shape, these all deal with shape. So, just something to think about as you're learning these root words and learning their meaning. It will help you with being able to pick apart words and understanding their definitions without even really having to look at the dictionary. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into the words and definitions. Number one, we have inspection. So, inspection means viewing carefully, examining it. Usually, it's looking for anything that's wrong. So, the sentence that I have is she had her car inspected by a mechanic before she bought it. So, she wanted the mechanic to look at it carefully to make sure that, there was no problems before she purchased the vehicle. Number two, export. Export means to send goods or services to another country for sale. Because like a lot of times different areas are good at maybe producing certain crops or having certain things that other places don't have. So sending those items over so that other countries and more people get to share in those things. So that's export. The sentence that I have is the islands export fruit and sugar to other countries. Number three, conform. Conform means to obey or follow the rules or standards. So the students must conform to the school's rules. So being able to become basically to control their behavior in order to conform to what's expected. Number four, portable. Portable means to be able to carry easily or moved. The sentence that I have for portable is the Chromebook is a portable device that he can use in class. So being able to take it easily because it's small and compact, that's what makes it portable. Number five. Number five is import, and it means to bring goods into a country for sale. So just like export we had before means to send goods. Importing is when when another country will receive those goods and bring it into the country. So the sentence I have for import is fresh beef was imported from the United States to Australia. Number six, format. Format is the way something is arranged or set out. So usually talking about the organization of it or the structure of it. So the sentence I have for format is students are expected to write their essays in the proper organization format. So basically, talking about having the correct structural view of, as soon as you look at your essay, you need to have those indents that I always talk about. So that would be like the formatting of your paper. Number seven, formation. Formation is the act of giving form or shape to something. Being able to, so format, which is like how it's arranged, and the formation is like the action part of it, the act of putting something into a certain shape or form. So the sentence that I have, I think about marching band because, if you watch a marching band show, you always see like them marching in different formations. So the sentence I have is the marching band marched in the parade formation. Number eight, spectator. A spectator is a person who watches at a show or a game or an event. So the sentence I have for spectator is the spectators lining up by the road cheered on the racers. So people who are watching something happening is a spectator. Number nine, Reporter. A reporter is a person who reports the news or conducts interviews for radio, newspaper, or television. So they're the person who looks into what's happening and is able to report on what's happening. Okay, so the sentence that I have for reporter is the reporter stood outside the White House while reporting the latest news about the president. So that's reporter. Number 10, reform. Reform means to make changes in order to improve something. So the sentence I have for reform is the employees on strike demanded for more reform in company practices. So more changes is what they wanted. So better changes in their company. Number 11, support. Support means to bear all or part of the weight on something, to hold up something, or even to agree with something. So the sentence I have for support is unable to support her weight with her broken leg. She had to use crutches to get around places. So that's support. Number 12. 12 is aspect, and that means to see a particular part or feature of something. So usually it's not talking about, a lot of times it isn't talking about the literal sense, but it could also be talking about that. But the sentence I have for aspect is she felt she had looked at the problem from every aspect. So she thought about the problem in every which way that she possibly could. So that would be aspect. Number 13, deformed. Deformed is a person or part of the body without having a normal or natural shape. So the sentence that I have for deformed is his jaw was so deformed that it made it difficult to chew. Number 14, retrospect. Retrospect is to look back and remember, or to think about something that had happened in the past. So the sentence I have for retrospect is, in retrospect, I probably should have worked harder in school. Number 15, inspector. Inspector is a person who looks into, who observes and examines things. The sentence that I have for inspector is, the inspector said the suspects gave statements admitting to their crimes. So it's like a person who really digs for the details, kind of like, an investigator or a detective. Those would all be like synonyms of inspector. Number 16, transform. Transform is to change something to look differently or different, and usually it's, transform for the better. So the sentence I have for transform is, the Christmas tree transformed the living room into a beautiful gathering place. Number 17, spectacle. Spectacle means something that is attracting attention, and a lot of times this word can be used in the negative sense and not necessarily the positive way. But it could be used for the positive, but typically people use it for the negative. So the sentence I have for spectacle is, people were staring because of the way she was making a spectacle of herself. So they were probably looking at this person like she was crazy because maybe she was doing something really silly. So that would be spectacle. Number 18, perspective. Perspective is a point of view or an attitude of thinking about something. So the sentence that I have is, from her perspective, he was acting very selfishly. So point of view, from her point of view, in other words, she thought that he was being selfish. That would be perspective. Number 19, prospect. Prospect is the possibility or the likelihood of something happening. So the sentence I have for prospect is, she was excited of the prospect of returning to school. Number 20, spectacular. Spectacular means beautiful in a dramatic and eye-catching way. And I have for spectacular, before the park closes, Disney World has a spectacular fireworks show. So it's beautiful and very, eye-catching with all the fireworks and everything. So that's spectacular. Number 21, prospector. Prospector is a person who looks for gold, oil, or other valuable substances in the ground. So the sentence I have for Prospector is, the prospector was able to pan out a few pieces of gold from the sand and gravel by the lake. So a person searching for gold usually is a prospector, or other types of minerals in the ground too. Number 22, transport. Transport means to take or carry people or goods from one place to another. So the sentence I have for transport is, they had to transport 30 pumpkins to the festival in the back of their truck. So they had to carry 30 pumpkins basically. So that is transport. Number 23, important. Important is having high rank or value. So I think about, usually, like, I make lists all the time. So usually you try to put the most important things at the top of the list, right? So the sentence I have using the word important is, doing her job well is very important to her. Number 24, portfolio. Portfolio means a thin case for holding sheets of paper, usually for school or for work. Or a lot of times, like, artists will use like portfolios to carry their artwork as well. So the sentence I have for portfolio is, she built up an impressive portfolio of work to show during job interviews. So that is portfolio. Okay, so those are all the words and their definitions and how they're used in a sentence. We will be having a spelling test and a vocabulary test this Friday. So please make sure your Words That Way homework is finished and that you're ready for those two tests. All right, boys and girls, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.